But I think the key reason for growth of customer publishing, both in the UK and globally, is we've been able to prove the power of what it does. And one of the big developments is all the work we've actually done with Millward Brown. So we're going to run through more of the detail of that with you now. And again, effectiveness, effective marketing is often pushed by engaging with a consumer. And for our Chairman's Away Day last week, we asked lots of quite famous people in advertising in the UK what their view on editorial content is. Roy Sutherland, fantastic commentator and passionate about print, had this to say about our customer publishing industry. Long copy, i.e. print, and prolonged leisurely engagement are often out of fashion in an advertising business which often confuses creativity with brevity. This would have driven David Ogilvy insane. Happily, our industry, customer publishing, is one of the last few pockets where his talent still flourishes, and it's a talent that somehow lends to brands a quality that nothing else can. So let's look at why. 5 years ago in the UK, a customer magazine was seen as a nice to have rather than a must have as part of the marketing suite. And often we saw that if budgets were cut, as they are being at the moment, the customer magazine was the first thing to be axed. And that's really because nobody really understood what it did. Interesting in this recession, we haven't seen any customer magazine closures. And when our consumer publishing counterparts are closing magazines, Maxim closed 6 months ago, in our industry, clients are still investing in customer publishing. And that's because we can prove it is a very effective marketing tool. So the work with Millward Brown, basically we launched this to prove that customer magazines are an effective marketing tool. So in the UK we now have 21,000 consumer interviews. The methodology is for every magazine that's on the study, we interview 300 people, 200 who use the brand and read the magazine versus 100 people who use the brand and don't receive the magazine. And we look at the difference in behaviour as a result of reading the magazine. And just in case you think these results might be quite UK skewed, we've actually also launched the study with Millward Brown in South Africa and in India. And the trends from the results from that work kind of mirror what we're finding here. So I know there's cultural differences. In some ways, the results in South Africa were even more amazing. I mean, they showed higher effect, partly because the market isn't probably as saturated. So that, as a marketing tool, actually showed a bigger effect. Right, key findings. There was a view 5 years ago, because a customer magazine was in the main free, it wasn't read. So first of all, we had to discount that view in life. And I think the world's changed very much now. I don't know about here, but in the UK, I think consumers in the main expect to get their media for free. You sit in the morning on the tube, everybody's reading Metro. Increasingly, we're seeing things like consumer magazines going to a free model, such as Shortlist. So the world's a different place, but we had to prove categorically that customer magazines are read. So the average customer magazine, as you referred to, is read for 25 minutes. So if you think of it, that's time spent with a brand. The top 6% of consumers spend over an hour with a brand through the customer magazine. Now if you put that into marketing context, no other medium can deliver that level of engagement with a brand. Basically you're talking about for 50, 30-second TV slots. Over half of consumers who read a customer magazine read it over half of it. 18% pick it up 3 or 4 times. So these magazines get into the home, they're on the coffee table, they might be by the bed. So they become part of consumers' lives in a way that no other media can. And all the research that we've done shows that belongs the editorial is of quality and is relevant, as you said. Customer magazines are read in no different way from consumer magazines, but it has to be driven by quality editorial. 60% keep a customer magazine for a week or more, and 14% keep it for reference. So as you said, no other media can deliver this kind of engagement, and 88% pass it on to a friend. And it's actually interesting, within all this, word of mouth is kind of quite important. So what all this proves is that through a customer magazine you can really engage one of your consumers, and through engagement you are going to deliver marketing effect. So we've proven engagement. Let's look at what it really does. The average customer magazine delivers a 44% response. Now if you compare that to DM, that is a very significant figure. I mean, in the UK, the average DM piece probably is lucky to get a 4% response rate. And by virtue of the wonderful pages that are in a customer magazine, you get all sorts of different responses, and we're going to show you what they might be for each sector. So for a retail customer magazine, the top performing title on the study delivered a 78% response rate, which is, phenomenal. And as we said, key to all this is driving brand loyalty. As all the Millward Brown research showed, that the more loyal a consumer is to your brand, the more this is going to drive sales uplift. So the average customer magazine, as we've said, delivers 32% increase in brand loyalty, which tangibly drives sales with an 8% increase in future sales as a result of delivering a customer magazine. And furthermore, a lot of customer magazines are actually on TGI, Target Group Index. I don't know if you have it here, but it's a big panel in the UK. And that categorically proves the average customer magazine delivers an increase of £5 per week in supermarket spend. So consumers who get a supermarket customer magazine are likely to spend £5 more per week. So if we want any proof of ROI, I think this is starting to build up quite a compelling picture. So let's look at how this works for different industries. For retail titles, different industries use customer magazines in a different way. And the retail titles are very much the objectives about very tangibly driving sales. I mean, our view on life is the more clear you are about the objectives for launching a customer magazine or for producing one, the more the marketing effect, because obviously the content will be delivering against what those objectives. So in the retail titles, driving sales, so 47% used a voucher. Again, this word of mouth thing, 29% showed it to a friend. 15% visited a department they wouldn't usually shop in. Finance titles are doing a very different job. As Patrick said, it's probably about information. Consumers are bewildered, so finance titles are really about informing consumers. So 15% call the company for more information, 8% visited a website. So again, it's much more of a kind of information-led. Automotive titles. In the main, an automotive customer magazine is probably very hard trying to do a brand job. So making sure that the brand is front of mind in terms of purchase consideration. It's a 3-year purchase cycle on cars, so it's having a much more brand effect. But again, the word of mouth thing, 23% discuss the content with a friend or colleague, 7% requested a test drive, so still working quite hard. Right, that's consumer customer.